Maturing is realizing men have feelings too. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Laiya. It is very nice to meet you. Today, I'm really speaking towards my ladies. I'm going to mention a little bit about, maybe I'll talk a little bit towards men, but really I'm speaking towards my ladies when I'm expressing to you guys that men have feelings too. The first topic that I want to touch on is the stereotypical idea that men cannot be vulnerable. Honestly, if we really do look at men as a whole, or just people as a whole, men are just as emotional as women. I don't care what man says that they've never cried, that they've never this and that, whatever, it doesn't matter. Everybody feels joy, everybody feels hate, everybody feels love, everybody feels gratitude, everybody feels. There's no one gender who feels more than the other. Everybody is emotional. Men just express it differently. More than likely, women are more on the sadness, kind of crying, kind of sort of like women are also express their feelings as anger. But when people hear vulnerable, they think of crying and sadness and just dramatics and all these different things. But men are vulnerable as well. They just express it differently, like I said, through anger, frustration, kind of just in a different form, but it's still the same way. They're still expressing their energy, and it's still not a productive way of expressing their energy. So it's just the same. There are reasons why men do decide to express their feelings just like this, just the same way as there are reasons why women express their feelings as just like that. But right now we're talking about men, so we're gonna keep it on men. Women in general, the role that they play with men's feelings is very crucial and is causing a problem. I'm not going to say that we are the entire problem, but we're definitely not helping them. So I know that just as a woman growing up, I wasn't really taught how to empathize with men. I wasn't taught how to listen to a man's feelings, how to kind of like read them out. Like, okay, if he's doing this, then that means this. Okay, if he's feeling this kind of way, then that means that I should, do this or that. And I'm not just saying as men in relationships, but I just mean men in general. Like if you're dealing with your brother, if you're dealing with your dad, if you're dealing with your friend, if you're dealing with your boyfriend, your husband, anything like that, just dealing with men's emotions was just not really taught to me. I was more taught that men need to know how to deal with your emotions. So I was more of learning about myself and about how I show my emotions and how I'm able to communicate my emotions so that the man would understand, okay, if I'm feeling like this, then this is what you should do. If I'm sad, then this is what you should do. If I'm happy, this is what you should do. If I'm feeling insecure, then this is what you should do. And these are things that are very commonly known through women. Like we just teach what we're supposed to. I feel like a lot of people don't really feel like they need to teach people, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. Nobody's gonna know how to deal with you unless you tell them and teach them how to deal with you. We are not really taught how to empathize with men, and like I said, like we are taught more that men need to tend to your needs. And with this ideal, women are probably the most hatred on men who decide to be vulnerable. In a relationship, when a man comes to a woman and is expressing things that hurt them, there's something that happened in the relationship that bothered the man, that the man didn't really see as cool, a situation that where he started to get into his feelings. A lot of women will say, get your shit together, you're a man, you're not supposed to feel. And this can cause problems if you're telling a man consistently that he cannot feel, because everybody feels. So when he is told that he cannot feel, it's basically told that he cannot express how he feels. So when he cannot express how he feels, it's bottling up in him, and it's going to come out. There's no suppressing your feelings and them never coming out. No, your feelings are going to come out. And then we have times of men being extremely violent. We have experiences of men just acting out completely just because they're not able to actually go to somebody and express their feelings. And I know a lot of men in some cases can't even express their feelings to their own male friends or to like other guys who may also be experiencing the same things, because within men, they've been taught, like, you have to think about in terms of how strong a woman's say is to a man. You have to think about it. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't really think about this too often, but what a woman says or what a woman believes about a man when the man cares about the woman is so big. Like, that man is going to hold that. Like, think for instance, like a man and his mom. The woman, the mom, is the one who raised that man, who taught him right from wrong, who told him what he should do and what he should not do. And so anything that the woman says is going to weigh heavy onto him. So if the woman, as in the mom, is telling her son, no, you cannot feel, you need to act this way, a mom or a girlfriend or something like that, or a wife coming to their husband, telling their husband that, no, you cannot feel like this, that's very detrimental. Like, the best way for me to explain certain situations is to tell people to put the shoe on, to put yourself in their position, to put yourself in their shoes. If you as a woman were in a situation where people were telling you, men were telling you all the time, you cannot feel, you cannot cry, you cannot be dramatic, you cannot be sad, you cannot do this or that, you're not going to be happy about that. You're feeling some type of way. That's invalidating your feelings. That's what women love to say. Men are invalidating my feelings when he's saying this and that. He's not even giving attention to how I feel. He's worried about what I said and all the logistics and things like that. But when the roles reverse and the man comes to you about his problems, women are more than likely not listening to how the man feels. How do I know? Because I did that. I did that a couple times to my boyfriend, which I've apologized to him greatly, because it's so bad when you realize what you're doing and that's not even what you intended to do. I don't think that women are specifically like actually trying to shut men's feelings down, but like I said, I think it's the case of women were just not taught how to empathize with men. Men, they want us to teach men how to empathize with us, but we are not taught how to empathize with them. Being on the other foot and just seeing how you are as a woman invalidating your man sometimes, or invalidating your brother sometimes, or invalidating your friend sometimes. I mean, I understand sometimes it can be foreign, like if you have never been opened up to by a guy, if you're as a woman have never had a guy come up to you and open up to you about his feelings or anything like that, you know, it can be kind of hard. But at the same time, I feel as though it shouldn't be hard, because I'm gonna put out a video later about like men and women and how it's not like a man versus woman thing, it's a person thing, and I will put that video out. That's why it's kind of hard for me to like just be like, oh, men do this and women do that, because it's kind of tough. People just do people things. In this case in here, women have to be able to provide what they want. So I feel as though in order to fix this kind of sort of thing, we have to, as women, I'm speaking to the women with this case, we have to be the rock that we want them to be. So I mean, I'm saying be the rock because this is what I asked my boyfriend to be. Like, I asked him when I was going off of the cliff, like if I'm dramatic, emotional, going through an anxiety spiral or just a sadness spiral, and it's coming off as aggressive towards him, or I'm expressing it in not the best way, I asked him to not get emotional, to not succumb to that stuff, because you can't have two emotional people. You have to have one sane person and one insane person. Now, the sane and insane person can switch. It doesn't always have to be the same insane person and the same sane person, because that's just logically not true. Because if your sane person goes insane, this insane person has to be able to come back and to be sane and to be that person's rock. You have to be able to do the same thing for your partner. If you cannot, then y'all are not in a partnership. Otherwise, it's in like a give or take, or all you're doing is you're not providing anything, emotionally at least. Like, you might be providing everything else, but if your man cannot come to you and be emotional to you and actually be vulnerable to you, then you are not being a good girlfriend, you are not being a good wife, you are not being a good partner whatsoever if you cannot hear your person out. So just kind of be your rock, be that rock, put yourself in his shoes. If there's a situation, if you're saying, you know, all the time that you want to be heard through your emotions, you want your emotions to be validated, you have to validate emotions in order to get that. And if you cannot validate emotions, then how do you know what validating emotions even is? If you cannot do it yourself, then how do you know if your emotions are being validated or invalidated? If that makes sense, because you can't even do that. So how can you say that somebody else is or isn't if you can't even? Does that make sense? Another thing to do is to take your personal feelings out of it. So if your man comes to you about a situation, or your brother or your dad comes to you about a situation that they are feeling, they're just coming to you. You don't really have no say in it. You didn't really think too much on the situation. They are coming to you about a situation. You cannot hear what they're saying and get emotional about it, because they're coming to you like emotions. As I said, you can only have one insane person and one sane person. It's not going to work too insane. It may work too sane. Too sane is the best. That way you both can have a conversation and not jump off the emotional deep end. There are very much a bunch of ways that you can have productive conversations without getting into the emotional aspect. Is it hard? Yes. Does it take time and practice? Yes. But it is not impossible. There's nothing impossible. And if you genuinely want to work on your communication and your relationship, and kind of see your faults as a woman, I feel like a lot of men, like when they kind of get to learning about them true selves and like learning their own self-worth, they start to leave these women. Taking your personal feelings out of it and just listening to him. Like I said, it's very hard as a woman because we were not taught how to do this. Men were taught how to do this from a young age, as I said, taught to take their emotions out of certain situations. That's why statistically they're better at business. That's why they're seen as better, because they're already trained from a young age to take their emotions out of stuff. So as women, we have to learn when to be emotional and when not to be emotional, when to be comforting, when to be a listening ear, and to just understand that if y'all are in a partnership, your man is not coming at you for a problem that he doesn't want to fix. Like, if a man is coming to you about a problem, it's clear that he wants to fix it. So try to fix it. Don't sit there and try to make it a bigger problem. Don't sit there and try to be like, well, I didn't like how you came to me about the situation. Well, I do understand in those situations where men do tend to pop off, there's a lot of situations where men, like I said, bottle up their emotions and it tends to pop out. And now it's all this and that and this and that. And you're just like, there's a lot of instances where women are caught off guard, like, well, where did all this come from? But at the same time, you have to understand that he might not have already felt comfortable to acknowledge this, to acknowledge the problems when they happened, because you might not have set that foundation that he actually can come to you about certain things. I feel as though in these relationships, women do have to express to their man that you can come to me about these certain things. And when they do, you have to act on what you say. You have to be there as a listening ear. You have to be there and to not take it personally. You have to be there and to help him in whatever situation he might have. Even if he doesn't really need help and he just wants to talk about it. A lot of men see talking out their situations as a waste of time when it's really not, because when you're able to talk about something, you're able to see it in a different perspective and gain different perspective from your partner or whoever else you may be talking to. All in all, to conclude this video, men have feelings too. Men feel. Allow them to. Allow them to feel. Allow them to use you as somebody that they can be able to feel to. Don't throw it back in their face a couple days later about how they were crying in your arms when a situation comes. Let that moment be that moment. If they are, I don't want to say they are not throwing it because I don't know your specific living situation, but even if somebody is doing something to you, I'm sorry, that doesn't give it justification to do it back. If you know personally within you that you do not throw things in people's faces, you hold promises and you hold secrets, you are you respect the fact that he even was able to become vulnerable with you. I feel like I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's a privilege for women if you are able to find a man who's able to open up and be vulnerable to you. That says a lot about you as a woman, being a listening ear and being somebody that can actually empathize. As I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any comments or anything that you really want to say, men or women, whatever you want to talk, let's talk down in the comments below. If you've got some disagreements, if you feel like, oh, actually this and that and this and that, if you feel like you know more than me, hey, let's chat about it. Let's see what you got. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys really did enjoy, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.